The sheriff's deputies were pounding on my front gate, their fists like thunder against the steel. For squad cars lined up at the entrance to my ranch, sirens screaming, lights slicing through the dusk like I just pulled off the heist of the century. One officer barked through a megaphone, "Step away from the gate now. This is an order." All I'd done was lock a cattle gate, the same one I'd had for years, the one I'd bolted shut last night after someone smashed through it with a truck again. But this wasn't just about a gate. The homeowners association, some HOA I didn't even belong to, had slapped me with a lawsuit. They claimed I was blocking a public road, a road they'd secretly carved right through my private ranch, a road that didn't exist 3 months ago. It tore through my cattle pasture, spooked my herd, and split my land like a knife. Now they called in the law to force me to open up, saying I was endangering their access. I stood my ground, hands raised, voice steady but loud. "This is my land. That road's illegal." The officer shouted back, "Unlock it, or we're coming in." That's when I said the words that turned the tide. Not only am I not opening it, every single one of those HOA folks is banned from setting foot on my property. The deputies froze, caught off guard. Then my wife, Sarah, stepped out, clutching a thick folder of papers, her eyes calm but fierce. "Y'all might want to check the property lines before you do something you'll regret," she said, cool as a winter stream. And that's when their whole scheme started to crumble. Let me take you back. I'm Tom Harper, a 56-year-old retired firefighter, levying on a 100-acre spread in Texas for nearly 2 decades. Sarah, my wife, is a paralegal, sharp as a tack and twice as stubborn. We came here after a back injury forced me out of the firehouse early, chasing quiet, open skies, and a place to raise horses. I keep to myself, pay my taxes, donate hay to animal shelters when drought hits, and let local kids sit each spring to learn about ranch life. My land's not for sale, never has been. So when a shiny new subby shound popped up next door, complete with its own HOA, I didn't bat an eye. They had their gated mansions, I had my fields. Live and let live, right? That is, until I saw bulldozers chewing up my pasture. At first, I figured it was a mix-up, maybe county workers got lost. But no, they were VYing a road. I limped out there, my old injury flaring, and found 3 guys in orange vests and one smug HOA suit named Greg Larson. "Can I help you?" Greg asked, like I saw was the one trespassing. I pointed at the half-built road cutting through my land. "What's this doing on my property?" He smirked. "Oh, this? It's an access road. We voted on it. Connects our east gate to Highway 17, better for ambulances, school buses, you know, community stuff." I laughed, thinking he was joking. He wasn't. "You should be thrilled," he said. "This boosts your property value." I stared him down. "You didn't ask. You didn't notify. You didn't get my permission. This is my saw land." He shrugged. "Eminent domain, Tom. Look it up." He was dead wrong. Sarah and I looked it up. She dug through county records, pulling maps, deeds, and GPS surveys. That road? No easement, no permits, no nothing. They'd built it illegally and expected me to roll over. So I did what any rancher would. I put up a reinforced gate, padlocked it, and slapped no trespassing signs everywhere. That night, someone rammed a car through the gate, tore up my fence, and injured one of my mares. A note was left in my mailbox. "Enjoy your protest. Our lawyers are coming." 2 days later, the lawsuit hit, claiming I was OLADing their right-of-way. I didn't sleep that night, staring at old photos of my dad, who left me this ranch, wondering how it came to this. Sarah and I decided to fight. We hired a surveyor, got a lawyer from San Antonio, and started documenting everything: dates, photos, license plates, deos of every car that crossed my land. Sarah found their HOA bylaws, which showed their power stopped at their property line. But Greg and his crew didn't quit. They held emergency meetings, spread flyers calling me a public menace, and got the local paper to run a hit piece. Rancher Block School route and standoff. Sarah wanted to clap back in the press, but I said no. Let the facts talk. Then came the day the cops showed up. They thought I'd cave. Instead, I banned the HOA from my land, and Sarah's folder held a knockout punch. A cease and desist order signed by a judge that morning. As the deputies hesitated, a black SUV roared up. Greg's smug grin vanished. Out stepped Sarah, flanked by 2 U.S. Marshals and Judge Clarence Thompson, a no-nonsense man with a voice like gravel. "Who's in charge?" he demanded. A deputy stammered, but the judge cut him off. "No, I'm in charge. This land is private, this road is illegal, and the HOA is breaking state law." He waved a stack of documents, deeds, surveys, aerial photos showing the road wasn't there 3 months ago. "You've been misled, officers. Fix it." Then he turned to me. "Mr. Harper, anything to add?" I stepped forward. "Yes, Your Honor. I've got video of HOA members trespassing after my warnings, and Greg and 2 others vandalized my property, including a hit and run that hurt my livestock." Sarah handed a USB drive to a marshal. Greg tried to slip away, but a marshal barked, "Stay put." This mess started 7 months earlier when I spotted real estate developers scoping my fence line with blueprints. One called out, "Nice place, old-timer. Our new HOA community's gonna raise your land's value." I didn't reply, but my gut churned. Sarah checked county records and found a firm from Austin had bought 400 acres next to us, splitting it into lots for Ridgeway Estates. Houses sprang up fast, fancy gates, solar lamps, the works. My quiet life was suddenly next to joggers and HOA meetings. I didn't complain, didn't report their kids tossing balls over my fence. But then Greg knocked on my door, all fake smiles. "Hey, neighbor, we're planning a shortcut through your land to the highway. It's for traffic flow, emergency response. You've got plenty of space, won't bother you." I shut him down. "No way. That's my grazing field. My land." He chuckled. "This community's growing, Tom. Things change." A week later, bulldozers rolled in, claiming to survey. By the time the sheriff looked into it, the road was half-paved. Sarah found forged county documents labeling my ranch as abandoned. Strangers drove across my fields. One even asked to host a wedding on my land. Sarah broke down one night. "This is our life, Tom. Everything." I hugged her. "We'll fight." We reinforced fences, added cameras, and locked gates. Then someone ran down a gate and hurt my horse. Sarah went full paralegal, compiling EVY Denke, while I recorded every trespasser. When the cops came, we were ready. Judge Thompson's order shut the road down, and Greg was cornered. But then a marshal handed me a new map of plan showing not just the road, but a park, a pond, and a clubhouse, all on Saw land. Sarah's voice was ice. "They're not just taking the road. They want it all." The marshal pointed to a filing with the city, labeling my ranch vacant HOA reserve. Judge Thompson warned, "This could be fraud, maybe criminal. Get a federal lawyer." Greg claimed it was a mistake by a former manager, but Sarah had dug up dirt. He was a silent partner in the real estate group behind Ridgeway. The next morning, my fences were cut again, cameras spray painted, and a no trespassing sign was torn in half with "This isn't over" scrawled on it. Sarah wanted to call the media, but I had a plan. I'd collected statements from neighbors, VY from other ranchers who'd faced similar scams, and a whistleblower worker who paved the road sent me texts from Greg joking about stealing from an old cowboy. I posted everything online: maps, VY names. It went viral. Thousands shared it, and support poured in. A news reporter did a feature. Then I caught teens from the HOA with gasoline near my barn. The sheriff nabbed them. Greg's son was one. The HOA sued me for harassment, claiming I was inciting hate. But Judge Thompson granted me a protective easement order, banning the HOA from my land forever, with instant arrest for trespassers. Then my barn went up in flames. I ran in, smoke choking me, to free my horses. They bolted out, but the Barmy Dad's barn from '73 was ash. The sheriff found gasoline. Arson. At the next hearing, the DA had VY 2 HOA members and Greg's son pouring gas. Judge Thompson issued warrants, cuffing Greg for conspiracy and fraud. My easement was permanent, and the road was blocked for good. But 2 nights later, a package Aravedno return address. Inside was a drone photo of my ranch, a red X on my house, and the words, "You're not safe yet." Sarah froze. Someone's watching us. At 2:40 a.m., my motion lights flashed. I ran out, rifle in hand, and shot down a drone hovering over my roof. The sheriff took it for EVY Denke. My lawyer called. The HOA president, Linda Voss, had fled with due law $120,000 in HOA funds. She'd hired the road contractors and forged documents. Greg was her pawn, and now he was talking, pointing to a developer, Victor Kane. Kane was the real shark, a smooth talker with a rap sheet sued for fraud and bribery across states. He'd filed a new plan for a luxury compound on my land, even after the court ruled against him. Our lawyer, Rachel Mendez, buried him in court with EVY Denke. Judge Thompson banned Kane from my property and flagged his zoning applications. But the HOA filed again for emergency access, stalling with money. I fought back, posting everything online, starting a GoFundMe, and GIVYing interviews. A Texas senator, Dolores Ray, called inspired by my story and pushed the Landowner Protection Act to stop HOA overreach. Kane's empire crumbled, partners ditched him, projects froze. Just when peace seemed close, a black SUV pulled up. A man in a gray suit handed me a letter from the Federal Land Bureau, claiming my ranch was in a 17A infrastructure corridor. Negotiations for a voluntary sale were coming. Sarah's voice shook. After everything, now the government? Our lawyer warned they'd target rural land, thinking we wouldn't fight. We did. I held a press conference by the Chard Barn, holding the letter. They tried to steal my land with lies, lawsuits, and fire. Now the feds want to turn. This isn't just my fight, it's every family, every worker, every American. The crowd roared. The Stand With Tom trended, and 100,000 signed a petition against forced development. We filed for an agricultural heritage designation, pro-VY-ing my ranch's value for veteran therapy and education. My Alliance 12,000 strong formed a human fence when federal surveyors arrived. No VY-olence, just signs. You can't steal roots. The feds backed off, re-VY-ing next steps. Sarah had a final play. We turned the ranch into a non-profit conservancy, untouchable forever. The Harper Family Ranch Conservancy was born. Standing by the rebuilt barn, Sarah hugged me. It's over. I nodded. We didn't just win. We protected something bigger. But here's where it gets messy. Was I right to shoot down that drone, knowing it could have escalated things? Should I have gone public sooner? Or did that make me a target? And what about the feds? Were they just doing their job? Or was this a power grab tied to Kane's schemes? If you were me, would you keep fighting, even if it meant risking everything again? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're with me, and subscribe for more stories of standing up to the bullies who think they can take what's yours. Who's got your back in a fight like this?